Good evening, everybody. Our course concludes this evening. Many of the teams have already posted their Road Kings case analysis, and I'll be grading that tomorrow and Friday, and hopefully have those grades all posted by Saturday for those who are posting in that time period. Some groups got extensions to Saturday, so that's okay. And so if you've already posted, you'll get your return results in the next 72 hours, probably 48 hours. So stay tuned for that. And you're also working on the final examination, and I'm going to go over that a little bit this evening. And all pointing to if you complete your course evaluations, we'll have grades posted by in a week's time. Probably, I say the grades posted by the 22nd. I'll probably get them posted quicker than that, probably around Wednesday, the 20th or the 21st. So, but that just gives me a little time in case I get behind. So that's where we stand coming into this final class session. I will be available over the weekend in case any of you have questions or need some clarifications. So please be aware of that. And also, as we conclude our class tonight, I'm going to also give you some information about where Professor Hasse fits into your academic life going beyond this class after this week, and give you a little bit of encouragement and comment about that as well. So that's where we stand heading into this last evening of business finance. And before we get really started into some review of financial planning and cash management, I just want to say that all of you have done a great job in a new format for the university, this 8-week program. The 8-week program has some growing pains. I know it's been a challenge for some faculty, and it's been a challenge for some students going from 10 to 8 weeks. But I think this class, you've done very well. We've covered all the material we've needed to that's desired for this course to get you ready to graduate with your business degree from La Verne. So you've done a great job in this is not an easy class, especially in a remote setting where the professor's not in front of you, but many of you have been engaged and asked me a lot of questions during the course of the term, and I appreciate that. So I think you all have done a great job in this course and should be proud of your accomplishments. Doing well does not necessarily mean you're going to get an A or want an A. Doing well is taking something out of the class. Now, hopefully you'd like an A, I'm sure, but doing well and getting some value out of the class is being able to take some of the concepts, some of the applications and the theories that we've used in this class and use it down the road. And that's why I keep the Blackboard site opened for about 2 years after this class is concluding, where you can refer back to any information you might need in any other classes you're pursuing in your program. This Blackboard will be open. Bless you. This Blackboard will be open for 2 years after this class is over, so you can refer to it, take files from it, and do all that. So please feel free that you have access to this material for quite a while. Also, you have access to the YouTube playlists and all that information. So please, going forward beyond this class can be a research guide or an information guide should you need it down the road. Okay. Want to start off with one thing this evening from chapter 18, and it's about financial planning. I think there's 2 areas or 3 areas of finance that are very important to somebody seeking a career in finance or working with finance. in a company where you'll be working with finance people or be sharing data with finance people. And part of that is the financial planning, and we all do it. I mean, I'm sure some of you or most of you in your own personal family financial management do financial planning. What preparing the withholdings out of your paycheck once or twice a year. Maybe some of you do that, or preparing family budgets, what you can spend your money on, how much you're trying to save out of your take-home pay. A lot of financial planning is involved in day-to-day management. And for companies, it's even more so, because in companies, you're in a competitive market. You're in a competitive industry. So to be able to have the ability to plan and the ability to take information from the past and apply it to future investing or financing choices within your business is very important to the future of your organization, okay? Many of you in the future are going to be managers and leaders of companies or leaders of your own business, and you're going to be given decision-making process of what to do about certain strategies in the future. What alternatives do you have, and how to understand those alternatives and ways of measuring your performance to the goals set forth in the financial plan. I'm sure a lot of you work for companies and you're given operating budgets for your department, for your division, for your location, a budget. That budget is a plan of performance goal. If you meet your budget, you've done good. If you exceed your budget, that means you're, as far as in a positive way, you're probably maybe getting a bonus or getting a pay raise, or you know what you're doing. If you do not make your budget, then there's some performance issues there and you have to be counseled. You have to learn what went wrong during that period of time. So financial planning is very a key component. I think the biggest key component in this class of this term is understanding the capital budgeting process. That's why we spend so much time on it. That's why you have so much assessment in that regard as far as grading. That's the most important. In other words, to gauge and determine investment return off an asset into the future, using present value, using resources or formulas to calculate planning into the future. But the next area of planning is operations, operating budgets, understanding how far you're going to plan. A lot of companies use the best case, the worst case, and the best case scenario in planning. Others use optimistic, expectations, pessimistics. What's a doom and gloom strategy for your business? What do we think is going to happen, or what happens if we exceed our planning? So there's a time horizon involved in financial planning. Most of us in our own personal financial planning, we look maybe 1 or 2 years down the road. And why? Because our pay changes. Maybe we might change jobs. Maybe a family member, we have children, or children leave and go on out of the house. We have to change our financial planning. Same thing with companies. What's the time horizon of financial planning? How to make sure decisions meet that time horizon, and set realistic goals for your company. I remember I had a student a couple of semesters ago came in with a problem from his business, and he said, our budgets are just too out of whack. They expect too much for us. And this was during the pandemic. You should change some of your expectations because of the pandemic, and they couldn't make their budgets. And so some reality has to be, and common sense has to be involved in financial planning. Oops, excuse me. I'm too far. Financial planning is building models, for lack of a better word. You know, what is going to happen if A happens? What's going to happen if B happens? What's going to happen if C happens? What are the options that's going to happen to your business? One of the reasons why at the beginning of this term, we studied financial statements. You need the financial statements and an understanding of financial statements to understand what's going to happen to those financial statements in the future. Are you increasing your debt position? Are the trends in your business to borrow more money? Or the trends in your business where you're always having difficult cash flow management? These build and act as basis for future financial planning. The inputs of financial planning, as I just said, the financial statements, they supply you the data. And then you develop some type of model. One of the models talked about is in your final examination, one of those questions in the final examination. What if we increase sales a certain amount or plan to increase sales in a future period of time? With sales as the relative base of change, how will that affect the future profitability, the future goals of the company? That's like a planning model based on a percent of sales growth. All right. And the outputs are what changes in those financial statements based on those changing goals. And that's what I'm asking you in that one question on the final. What if sales increase? How does that affect and change certain items of the financial statements? That's financial planning. What do we plan? What we have used in the past, what our financials tell us in the past, compared to what we think is going to happen in the future and how that will affect the financial statements. And that's the outputs. What happens next? Sometimes these are different types of models. And one of the model that you're doing in the final examination is somewhat a combination of the pro forma and the percentage of sales model. If sales go up a certain amount, that drives other variables in your company. And the pro forma is what's that projection going to look like in your financial statements. There's all different kinds of models. And if any of you go on to graduate school and get an MBA or a master's in finance or a master's in economics or whatever, you'll have models out the yin yang trying to figure that out in graduate school. But for now, financial planning is being able to take existing information and using a base like sales forecasts. And that driving variable drives everything else that you have to look at. So there's a question, there's a question on that in the final, fairly straightforward, but it applies this concept of financial modeling based on a variable. The variable is a sales forecast. And that's a key. Companies that can use their existing financial data and apply it to the future are the ones that are going to have a leg up on their competitors. They plan accordingly and they know what's going to happen. For example, right now it's October. Many companies probably have pretty well good idea of what they're planning in next year's budget, beginning January 1st of 2022. By this time in October, they pretty well have a pretty good idea what their planning models are going to be next year. If they don't by this time, they're adapting them, they're changing to maybe the pandemic or changing at the last minute based on what has happened over the last 3 quarters of their business. But pretty well by the mid-October, you're going to have a pretty good idea what you're going to be doing next year. And then when next year comes in January, you're going to use that forecast, that model, and gauge what's actually happening. Did we predict correctly? Did we forecast correctly? That says a lot about a business. A business that does not forecast every year is off. They have an internal problem. They're not looking at their data correctly. I think one of the big jobs, there's 2 big jobs coming out of business these days in finance and in management. It's analytics, and it's the ability to critical thinking. Analytics and critical thinking. Critical thinking meaning, can you say that you're doing a lousy job? A lot of companies have a difficult time doing that. They're always spinning. They're always saying, well, it's the market's fault, or well, it's the pandemic's fault, or well, it's somebody else's fault. They never really take an internal look at themselves. That's critical thinking. Another is understanding the market they're in, being able to understand where they're at in their business model and in their strategic planning. And these are key points that you need to be aware of as you go further into your academic studies or developing your career. Your ability not only to look at the past with financial statements and data, variance analysis, but take that data and use it to project into the future. That's a very difficult thing. And that's where a lot of jobs is where you make the big money. If you're able to use data analytics, use critical thinking, and come up with solutions to future problems, they're going to pay you a lot of money. And that's a growing area in business management. You have a lot of variables. You have retained earnings and dividends, how much dividends you're going to be paying out. How much external financing you're going to get. Do I need to go out and borrow money from a bank? Do I need to go out and use and issue new stock? In order to grow, you need net income. In order to grow, you need new assets. Companies grow by acquiring assets and growing. Well, those new assets are going to be funded either by internal methods, profits, or external financing, equity and debt. Your job as a financial manager is to determine how much can I fund my growth by profits, or how much can I fund my growth by going and borrowing money, or issuing new stock, or finding mergers and acquisitions and partners. Sometimes companies merge or get partners to help them get the capital to grow and find new assets. So these are big, huge ways of going about understanding financial planning. Is first of all, thinking about how much you're going to need, what's your growth rate, how can I compete in the market I'm in, and then where is the money, where's the capital coming from? That's a big deal. And part of this is all driven by your financial statements. And we're all very familiar with that. So I think the key point to use in financial planning for corporations is A, understand your numbers, understand what your financials tell you, income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, and then being able to forecast in some type of model. And it can be as simple as just saying, if our sales increase 10%, that's going to increase our asset base by 10%. It's going to increase our profitability by 10%. It's going to increase our expenses by 10%, or whatever formula you allow. Be able to gauge that and go from year to year, period to period. If that's consistent and it consistently works in your financial planning, you're going to have a strong base of financial planning in your organization. And that leads us to long-term financial planning. But there's a lot of short-term financial planning that, as you all know, I hopefully I'm going to be buying a house in 5 years, or I want to buy a new car in 2 years. So I'm going to start saving some money. I'm going to not get in too much debt now. I know I'm going to get in debt when I buy that house, or I know I'm going to get in debt when I buy that car. So now I'm going to keep my debt management small, because why? I want to build up my FICO score to make my money cheaper when I do need to borrow money. Corporations are the same thing. They take a look at their long-term planning, so they have operating budgets that produce profits, and they can live off those profits without going out and borrowing new money, which might affect their credit rating. But also there's short-term financial management. And short-term financial management is me today. Here's an example of short-term financial management today. What's the date today? October 13th. I'm going to Michigan next week. I have to go to Michigan to visit my father in the Detroit area. And so I got to make sure I have, I got my plane ticket and all that jazz already, but also I got to make sure that I have, when I ever go visit my father, I have to bring him certain things that he needs and that sort of thing. Not getting into specifics, but I have to have a certain amount of cash, a certain amount of money. Oops, I'm leaving 4 days, and my cash position is not what I should be. So I got to make arrangements, taking some money out of one area was some investment, or making sure I have my credit cards all paid off, and I'm managing my affairs over the next couple of weeks. That's short-term management. Can you imagine if you're a company and you have a payroll this Friday and it's Wednesday, and you don't have enough money in your bank account to meet payroll? That's a little bit creepy. That's a little bit different than long-range financial planning, where you have plenty of time to work things and know what's going on and appraise and adjust. Short-term financial management is another situation where you have to manage day to day or week to week to make sure you have enough cash flow. It's called cash management. And I want to talk a little bit about cash management tonight, because that is huge for companies. Many companies make a lot of profit, but they're always cash poor. They never have enough money. And I know a lot of people who make nice salaries, but they're always borrowing money. They never have enough money to be ahead of themselves, even though they're making great salaries, great take-home pay, but because they have debt, because they don't manage their cash very well, they're always behind the eight ball. And it's frustrating. It can be very frustrating for somebody. So it's called cash management. And as we remember back when, at the beginning of our course, we took a look at the financial statements, the big three, I guess you could say: balance sheet, income statement, and the cash flow statement. The cash flow statement says that we have sources and uses of cash. And there's a question in the final examination from this discussion in chapter 19 about you as a student of finance to determine what is a source and what is a use of cash. Well, a source of cash is money coming in. Net income is a source of cash. Depreciation is a source of cash. Borrowing money is a source of cash. Increasing accounts payable is a source of cash. Decreasing inventories is a source of cash because you're selling them. That's money coming into the company. And it's good to know what our sources of cash are all the time and what our uses of cash are all the time. An increase in accounts receivable is an increase or a use of cash. Buying fixed assets, purchasing more plant and equipment is a use of cash. Paying off a bank loan is a use of cash. Paying dividends is a use of cash. Selling a security for a loss is a use of cash. And one of the most important things about short-term financial management of a company is what are my sources and uses of cash flow, and how can I anticipate those changes? And this in front of you on the screen, you see the statement of cash flows, a statement of operations, investment, and financing for a company. And in this example, a company had an increase of cash of $10.4 million. And part of it came from operations. Part of it was the purchase of investments, fixed assets, and part of it was financing. But within each sector, money's coming in and money's going out. Money's going out, money's going out, money's coming in. That's cash management. On just a smaller scale, you know that in your own personal financing. What's money coming in? When I get a paycheck. My paycheck is my main source of cash. Also, if you have an investment that pays you a dividend or interest on an investment, or if you have rental property and somebody rents from you, they give you rent checks. That's cash coming in. What's cash going out every day? Paying your credit card bill, paying your rent, paying your mortgage. That's cash going out. Paying your expenses, utilities, insurance, food, clothing. That's cash flow. Your management of your personal finances is understanding when money comes in, when you get paid or other types of investments, and when money goes out, when you're usually at the first of the month or in the middle of the month when you pay your bills. It's the exact same thing for corporations. It's just a little bit more complicated because you have more sources of coming in and going out. And that's important. So the statement of cash flow tells us where money comes in, sources, and where money goes out, uses of cash flow. And that's called short-term financial management. Long-term planning is looking down the road. We expect sales to increase 15% in 2022. We expect that 15% to continue in 23, drop a little bit to 5% in 24, whatever. But do we have enough cash to get through the month of October 2021? That's short-term cash management. And it's called the cash cycle. It's called when cash comes in and when cash goes out. And you, as a manager of finance or financial management, have to understand that very specifically. And that's not only relying on financial information, but also knowing the ebb and flow of day-to-day cash flow in your organization. That's huge. And that's the difference. A lot of us will find jobs someday, maybe as a financial organization where you're in charge of short-term management, where other jobs will be in charge of long-term management, projecting into the future. If you work as a treasurer of a company, you're responsible for the short-term financial management of the company, cash management. But if you're the financial planner or the chief financial officer, you're kind of looking more at the long-term aspects of planning for your company. It's all in different parts of the organization, but it all means the same: planning, either short-term or long-term. And that's why understanding the flow of cash can be very important. And this is an example. This is cash coming in. This is cash going out. And to understand sources and uses of cash within an organization can be very important, because many companies budget for cash. Their cash flow knows at certain times during a year. For example, businesses that do a lot of their sales in the wintertime, like retail companies ordering inventory for Christmas, they order that inventory in the spring, pay for it in the spring. So that means when money's not coming in, they're paying out for inventory that they need, that's probably right now sitting out in LA Harbor and has yet to be unpacked, taken off the ship. But whatever, they've already paid for that. Now they're waiting for it to get into their stores at the Christmas time so they can sell it. That's when they get their cash. But they have to plan cash availability in the spring when they're ordering their product. It's just like if you have a business that its main business is in the summertime, like a restaurant on a beach, or you live in a community that lives off summer vacationers. Well, your cash flow is going to be in the summertime when you have your visitors, you have customers. During the other times during the year, you're maybe fixing up, modernizing, fixing up your facilities, whatever, you'll be spending more money than what's coming in. So understanding that ebb and flow of cash can be very important for a company. So that's one of the key parts that I wanted to talk about from our discussions in this week, is what is the difference between long-term and short-term financial planning and financing. Long-term is being able to project out with the best models that you think can work. You have a question about that in the final examination. Short-term financing or short-term capital management is being able to understand where is my cash coming from, sources, where is my cash going, uses, and hopefully, knock on wood, your sources exceed the uses and you have enough cash to operate. But during typical times of the year, that might not occur. So you have to prepare for those times of year. What many companies do, corporations have what is called line of credits. All right. When I was in business for myself, I had a line of credit of X amount of dollars. Doesn't mean it's just sitting there. That means I can draw on that during times of my business when I had a little bit of cash shortfall, like during the periods like when when my business slows down. My business usually slowed down in the summertime, and it picked up towards the tax time of the year. So in the summertime, I had to meet payroll, I had to pay expenses. So I drew down on my credit line, and my interest rate was about 7%. And as I had to pay 7% on that credit line, and then when my money started coming back in, I paid off the credit line, but I had the cash available to me during those times of the year. Companies are exact same thing. So you have to understand when your cash comes in and when it doesn't. And that's short-term management. So that's why we have two questions on the final, one involving long-term planning and one involving short-term sources and uses of cash. So refer to this discussion for those answers, but they're pretty commonsensical. You'd probably be able to figure them out. But this relates to those two questions in your final. Okay. Just lost my mouse. Hang on here. Where'd it go? There it is. Good Lord. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's get back to this. Just to go over a couple of things about the final. The final is kind of just a summary of the course, summary of some of the key things. Can you calculate, and just going back and through some calculations that we've done. And it's kind of just summarizing the key parts that you will take out of this course into other areas. Calculations, net present value, capital investment, capital budgets, questions about the market, questions about doing projects expected rate of return, capital asset pricing model, WACC, and then the short answer questions. And sometimes students get a little confused about what does Mr. Hassey expect with a short answer? Well, a short answer is exactly what it is. 1 to 2 paragraphs, nothing more. Not long answers, just short and to the point to answer the question as directly as possible. I don't need any research. I don't need any references. I don't need any fancy calculations or anything. I just am looking for your idea of able to be able to analyze the question and answer it very quickly. Okay, and that's the point of these questions here. For example, we were talking about this last week. What is the chronological order of dividend payments? That's a 1-sentence answer. Here's a question that we just had in regards to long-term planning. All right, I'm just looking for some numbers here. Company had net sales of 18 million. They're projecting a 15% increase in those sales next year. If cost of goods sold is always 60% of sales, and inventory is 25% of sales, what would you estimate sales, inventory, cost of goods sold to be next year? So I'm looking for 3 numbers. What is your projected sales for next year? What is your projected inventory for next year? What is your cost of goods sold for next year? I'm not looking for profit. I'm not looking for cash flow. I'm just having you take the ability of using that data to project out into the future. Here's another one that I just was referring to, chapter 19. What are the sources and uses of these things? What is the source? What's a source here, and what is a use? Okay. Net income, dividends, increase inventory, increase receivables, depreciation, payables, long-term debt. What is money coming in? There's one column. What is money going out? Another column. That's what I'm looking for. No more, no less. In regards to your student portfolio, you're going to update your portfolio with a spreadsheet as of this Friday, October 15th. The amount of dollars and percent gains and losses, and the changes in the 3 market indicators. Now let me bring up this little doodad here. One moment.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
On the last exam, when we had to update our portfolios, one of the comments that you made on mine was the date of my initial source for the 3 markets. You
Yes.
said was incorrect. What is the date that we're supposed to be taking that from? Oh,
August 27th.
August 27th. Perfect. Thank you.
Here's the portfolio from that last one, Dustin. And all you're going to do with this portfolio, matter of fact, I gave this portfolio in the solutions of the midterm, I believe it was, and you have this template in your Blackboard. So this is going to stay the same here. All you're going to do on Friday is just take this and change it to October 15th. And then all you have to do is find the price. This will be already done for you with the formulas in the cell, and all this other jazz will be calculated for you if you use this template. Okay. Your only job is to get the prices as of October 17th, 15th, and get the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ for October 15th. And then these numbers will all change accordingly because we have formulas already there.
I had all of that. The comment that you had made was
Yep.
that my initial
Yeah.
date for the three markets was wrong. So I just needed to know what day to go back and look at
So
what
just
that
go back. And
market
also,
was.
Dustin, you even have to go back and look. If this template's in your Blackboard, there are the numbers right there.
Perfect.
You got it
I'll
right
take care
there.
of it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So that's all you have to do. But this is what I want this to look like as of October. You don't need to show me September 17th. All you have to do is change this date, get the new numbers, and you're done. Make sure you get all the correct information. And then your big thing is, did you beat the market? Is this number better than these numbers? That's all I'm looking for. And remember, in regards to the portfolio, whatever student has the greatest return from August 27th to October 15th, whatever student has the greatest return, they will be the Wolf of Wall Street. I'll send you a little email. You'll send me your mailing address, and I'll send you a Starbucks gift card and a University of Laverne pennant as the Wolf of Wall Street for our business class this fall session. Okay. You don't have to do any essays, no analysis. Well, the analysis is crunching the numbers to tell us what your change in your portfolio was. But I need to see the spreadsheet, not a PDF, not a Word doc, not a cut and paste and put it into the examination file folder. Yeah, I need a spreadsheet file showing me this information, and then all will be well. So you have this already in Blackboard. Modify it or use your existing one. A lot of you have done a great job keeping track of this stuff, but that's what I'm looking for in that final question. Yes, John, a Laverne pennant is a wonderful gift. Okay. But the wonderful gift, John, is really knowing that you're the Wolf of Wall Street in a HASI class. I mean, that's like getting the Academy Award and 30 years from now, you've been a Wolf of Wall Street winner. You've been an Academy Award winner. You are the best. Really, basically, you are the luckiest. You caught the market at the right time. That's why you won. Okay, but that's how that works. Okay, so there's that information, and that's how I would like your portfolio work. Now, you can't do that until Friday at the market close on Friday. You can't do it tomorrow. You got to wait till the market close at 1 o'clock tomorrow, Friday afternoon. Then you can update this and you're done. Okay. All right, good. God, we owe. And thank you, Dustin, for that question. Okay, back to this one more time. Oh, I'm in the wrong area. Hang on. Here we go. There we go. Okay. A couple of things as we wrap things up, and I'm going to leave this also a significant portion available to you all. If any of you have questions about your final Road King work or any questions about the final examination, I'll have an open forum for you can ask questions. But a couple things to note here. At the end of your examination and also in week 8 is in the week 8 file folder, at the bottom of the file folder is the links to do the course evaluation. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I don't blame you. Why is HASI always harping on this stupid course evaluation nonsense? Does anybody ever listen to this? Does anybody ever read these things? And I honestly can say, I don't think, or wait a minute, I got to watch myself here. I think, who reads them? I do. I can tell you that specifically. I read them. All right. And I know my boss reads them, the dean of the college. Does the provost read them? Who knows? Does the president read them? Who knows? Sometimes they say they do. Sometimes they say they do. I don't know. But I know I read them, and I know the people in the College of Business read them. They're very important. Now, do they do much good to you guys? No, not because you've already taken the course. But they help the program. They make it better. And your feedback is important. What you all think about the courses is important. I mean, you work in a company, or many of you have jobs, or many of you have family management, you have children, you have relationships in your families. How do you survive managing your family or your businesses? You need feedback, you need communication, you need information back about how you're doing. All right. You go to your nice spelling here. I appreciate. Good God, Hassie. I even misspelled my words in this. I got to fix that. But be that as it may, you need feedback, and I need feedback, and the university needs feedback. So that's why it's important to do these evaluations. You guys we work for you. I don't work for Jack, nobody else except the students. And what you feedback to me is very important. All right. Especially these days with education changing, this remote learning, all these things, technology, the changing environment of companies now. I teach this course about 180 degrees different than I did about 2 years ago. Business has changed. Analytics has changed. Way we do business has changed so much in the last 2 years. It's mind-boggling. So I always have to update this and update my methods and update how we do things. Another important thing is I need better music before class. What kind of music should I play before class? Is that good for the students, or am I picking lousy music? I change around like this week, we listened to Motown music. All right, my hometown, Detroit. But sometimes we do it. I'm just teasing here, but just feedback that's important thing. That's what I need, and that's important. Okay. And please, yes, Chris, mark me down on the evaluation. The guy can't spell worth beans. That's a good one. All right. So that's a good one. Okay, but that's important, and it's important to me, and I think it's important for the student to know it's important to me. I care. You know, half the time you might get a faculty member who doesn't even know what the hell's going on with Blackboard, let alone knowing what's going on with their students. That doesn't happen here, and I want you to know that, and I want you to know your feedback is very important to me. And here's another thing that's important to me. Crystal ball, yeah, right. Here's another thing that's important to me. One of the things that I go by in this class is I'm kind of a geek. I'm a data geek. So when I have a student, I keep track of every student I've ever taught at college. Right now, that list is about, off the top of my head, about 9,400 names, 9,400 students. And I keep a database of every student I have had. Not very detailed, but their grades, when they took the class, what location did they take it? Was it online? Was it a remote class? Was it at Bakersfield? Was it in Ontario? Was it at Vandenberg? Where I taught the class? How did what was the student's grade? That sort of thing. Now, why do I do that? Because I'm a geek? No, I do that because maybe in 2 years, Yvonne Marino is going to send me an email and say, Mr. Hassie, hi, it's Yvonne Marino. I was in your Business 330 class in the fall of 2021, and I'm seeking a promotion at my company, and I was wondering if you could write me a letter of recommendation, because my promotion is in the finance department of the company, and I want them to know what I've taken in finance in my business degree, and I think you can be good for that. Now, when Yvonne first sends me that email in 2 years, I'm going to go, Yvonne, who? I'll quickly go to my database, and as soon as I see Yvonne's name and her being in this class, I'll know exactly who she was. And then I can write her a letter of recommendation for her company. Now, why is that important? Because here's why. One of the reasons, and I'm not going to give you the Chamber of Commerce answer, I'm going to be perfectly frank with you. But one of the reasons I enjoy teaching at La Verne is because I'd say 90% of the staff, faculty, and people at this institution truly care about you guys, the students. Not so much of taking your money during the fall session so we can teach you, but what happens to you when you're done? What happens to you in your career? What do you do with this degree when you leave? And I can honestly say that 90% of the people here at La Verne truly care about that. Because once you leave, we're going to be part of your network, or I'm going to be part of your network. And you should rely on that to get letters of recommendation, information. Some of you might be going to another school to get an MBA degree or a master's degree, and you're stuck on a problem in a class. Hey, I'll send Hassie an email. We did this in class and I forgot all about it. He'll help me and I will help you. So keep that as your network. I know a lot of you use LinkedIn. Keep in touch with me through LinkedIn. Keep in touch with me when you're done, because having a letter of reference from a faculty member in your business program carries a lot of weight in a job application. Trust me, it does. Having a reference or an information source like from a faculty member is very important. In my last year of business, when was that? 2018, the last year before I sold my company, I was still seeking information and help from a former teacher of mine 25 years ago in college. He was still mentoring me and helping me running my business. That's how important this network is. So please don't be shy. If you need a letter of recommendation, a reference for a new job, some of you are going to be starting businesses on your own in the future. And you're going to be putting together a business plan, a business model for bank financing or investor financing. Having a reference source of a faculty member in your business degree is going to be very important in that. It makes a big difference. So keep that in mind down the road. And also, next semester, next fall session or in the spring, you're having a problem in the class. I'm not going to help you do the answer, but I will guide you and give you a source of information if you need help in that regard. You have now developed a network that I hope I'm a part of to help you down the road. And I'm not saying this to be corny, but I have students that I had 20 years ago that are still staying in contact with me, asking me questions, seeking guidance, and seeking help in their businesses. So this is a good thing to develop, not only to get a degree and move on in your career, but also you've developed a personal network. And I hope I can be a part of that if you let me. I would like to do that. So keep that in mind down the future. It doesn't mean, at the end of this class, oh, I'm going to write Hassie, I'll get a letter of recommendation. Please do, I'll do it. But down the road, a year, 2, 5, 10 years, you might need some information, some reference material. Feel free. It doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody in this associated with this university. Please take advantage of that. It will really help. It will really help. So I wanted to leave you with that. Remember that. That's a good thing. When you can depend on a college or an institution where you borrowed money and to spend a lot of money of your own money or family money to go to attend to, part of the return on your investments, yes, is getting the degree, but also part of the return on your investment is now you have a source of additional information and mentoring that you can use for the rest of your business life. And that's a cool thing. That's a good thing. So please keep that in mind going forward. All right. Now, with my Chamber of Commerce speech finished, I open up any questions any of you have about the final, Road Kings, my dress code tonight. I look like a slob, I apologize. Or anything else. Will the Dodgers beat the Giants tomorrow night? I'm sorry. Giants win 6-5 in 10 innings. Just want to let you know right now. Take that to Vegas, you're going to win some money. 6-5 Giants in 10. Thank you. Sorry, Destiny. It's the honest truth. If I thought the Dodgers would win, I'd tell you, but it ain't going to happen. Sorry. Giants 6, Dodgers 5. Wild pitch. Kenley Jensen in the 10th inning wins it for the Giants. There you go. Can you get any more specific than that? There you go right there. So thank God I'm recording this. I'll play this back for you the day after tomorrow and you'll go, oh my God, he's psychic. He knows. How is that? Okay. Anybody had, oh, by the way, here is the Starbucks gift card for the Wolf of Wall Street winner. Here it is right here. There it is right there. So Remember, I'm not just BSing you about all this stuff. And where's the pennant? Can you see the pennant? Oh, I don't have it around. Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions? Go. Really?
I have one,
Melanie.
or this is just like, I don't know if you'll answer it, but so for question number 15 on the final should we use slide 7 on the PowerPoint presentation to like follow that guideline?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but yes.
I just wanted to make sure I was using the right one. Thanks.
You guys have worked very hard on that Road King. I'm sure you have. And I didn't want to make the final like a suicide attempt type of information. I wanted to be a little bit more less stressful, and I designed it that way. So it just gives me the final assessment of your ability. Brittany, who's that in front of you?
My son,
What's his name?
Connor.
Connor? There he goes. All right, Connor. See, Connor likes finance. I can see maybe I'll be dead by then, but I can see him taking business finance in about 18 years. You never know. Okay. Any other questions? Where is Kathy? Kathy, no questions?
Let me see. Who do you think is going to win the Wolf of Wall Street?
No idea. It's kind of a close competition right now.
Come on. You predicted the Dodger game.
Yeah, but this is 26 people that I got to remember off the top of my head how they're doing in that right now. So I have no idea. It's that's a tough one, but I will know this weekend. So we'll see, and I'll let everybody know who won. By the way,
maybe Brittany's little boy will win.
but again, Kathy, 6-5 Giants. Kenley Jensen, wild pitch in the 10th. It came to me last night.
Wow.
After about a case of beer, it came to me. So I know. Okay. Any other questions? Look, Jasmine. Any questions, Jasmine? You've been the leading candidate for most improved player with more emails in the last 10 days than any student here. Jasmine, you are the most improved with your emails. Thank you.
What do I win with that one? No, but no questions. I think I'm good to go for right now.
Okay. All right.
I'll send you an email.
Please do. I was lost today without an email from Jasmine. I felt my day was nothing. All right. No other questions? All right, but seriously,
Professor,
yes,
quick question. Are you Richard Rick Hassey on LinkedIn?
I certainly am.
Okay, cool.
And my address is San Quentin State Prison. That's where I am these days. So I keep the background here is all phony. No. Yes, no, that's my address on LinkedIn. Matter of fact, if you go there right now, you'll see a post from my entrepreneur class where I have a group of students who have just got a loan from Wells Fargo and are running a business this semester on campus. And you'll see a picture of them in my LinkedIn site. I don't usually use LinkedIn, and I don't like to do it anywhere for self-promotion, but I always like to put in things from my students and what they're doing. And you can see that at my LinkedIn site. Also, I have a lot of former students who now are running companies, and they're always and I'm not bragging about this, it's not my doing, but the first time they're looking for people to hire, they go to the LinkedIn site, to my site, and advertise it to alumni and other students who are on there, because they look for jobs and fill jobs through the contacts on that LinkedIn site. That's how important that can be with getting information about what's out there of jobs availability. We have a lot of former students who are working for business. I have some former students who are headhunters for companies, HR, and they're always looking for people. So that's a good site to start hooking up with. Forget about Facebook and that other nonsense, Instagram and all that other crazy stuff. But the LinkedIn site is a good thing. That's a good thing.
Thank you. And Connor's adorable, Brittany.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, but going forward, think about what I've said tonight. If you have any questions, last minute questions, I'm around all this through the weekend. I'm heading out of town on Monday, but I'll be grading your finals and all that stuff from where my location, where I'll be in Michigan next week, but I will be accessible. So if anybody has any questions, if you've already posted your Road Kings work, I'll be grading that in the next couple of days. So look for that grade and I'll send you an email when that is posted with that work. I've already started reading some of them and I've been very impressed by it. So I think you guys have all grasped that and did a good job. Okay. All right. You know, it's only an hour class tonight and I feel like I shortchanged you, but I don't have anything else to say. So I apologize. I think the two most important things to take out of this class tonight is Giants 6, Dodgers 5, number 1. And number 2, that I'm not disappearing in the internet world after tonight. You have access to me going forward in the future. If you need anything, you have a problem with Laverne and somebody's not doing their job, please let me know. I can rattle a few chains on that one too. And if you need anything going forward in the future, like John, you need a new picture for your internet. That's not cutting it anymore. You need something more. I can maybe help you with that design, give you something. And Jasmine, I can help you with some email writing skills if you need it. But besides that, and Connor, I will see you in 18 years. And especially if you play football in the future, we need you at Laverne. Our team stinks. We need some offensive linemen. So Brittany, get Connor big and strong. I'll take 6'2", 6'3", about 280. And we'll take him at Laverne and anytime you so desire. So that'll be good.
We're hoping he does baseball.
Oh, baseball. Well, we have a good baseball team. They have a good team. But if he's really good, don't go to Laverne. Go to some place where they'll pay for your education at a Division I school. That's where you want to go. So, okay. What position in baseball? Where's he already looking at? Catcher?
Shortstop. My husband said shortstop.
Oh, shortstop. Very good. Okay. Well, again, Giants 6, Dodgers 5, and Corey Seager will be playing for the Yankees next year. There's another prediction. Corey Seager will be on the Yankees shortstop next year. There you have it. Gavin Lux, second base. Mr. Turner, shortstop. Seager, Yanks next year. So I'm telling you, you want anything more information, you can come find me. John, fix that picture. That's all I have to say as we end our session tonight. Guys, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure. I'm sorry. I wish we could have a longer session, like maybe another semester of this and go into new areas. It'd be kind of cool, but such are the limitations of higher education. But I hope to see you or have some contact with you all as we go forward into the future. So thank you. God bless and have a great exam weekend, and we'll see you down the road. Adios.
Thanks,
Thank
Professor.
you,
Thanks for
Professor.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now get out. Go. Leave. Get out. I don't want to see you anymore. Connor, see you in 18 years.
I have a question, so I'm gonna hang on and tell everyone.
All right. 6-2. Brian, forget it. Braves, hapless. All right. By the way, Houston's going to win it all anyway. So let's just end that discussion right now. All right. All right. What do you got, Brittany?
I can wait. It's regarding my group.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Okay.
Okay.
Let me turn off the recording just a sec.
Oh yeah.